just that, okay, let me just start first of have a very diverse background in more into regional integration, governance, international relations, management, development management. So this is a bit about me. I have three master degree, one in international relations, one in governance and regional integration, and one from LSE, which I recently got at only in London School of Economics and Political Science in development management. This is a bit. Currently, I work at African Development Bank. I don't know if you know the bank. Is an equivalent of Asian Development Bank, the World Bank in a way, because it's also a multilateral development bank. I serve as a board liaison officer, and so this is just a bit about me. I think we should not. You are more into not to know about me, more is to know about the information regarding the project. So, okay. So at least if I can have your name as well, I could see, but just also a sense of a background of who I'm speaking with. That can also help too to know how I'm going to narrow the scope because we are dealing with a lot with an instrumental and very robust problematic that might require more time. Unfortunately, it's 30 minutes and anyway, we'll try to do as much as we can, and then we will deal with it. Okay, so now on your side.
Well, Dennis, our first question is,
Uh,
what are the current?
wait.
Ah,
First of all,
Yes.
bueno, Jimena and I study international relations. Now Victor is our social responsibility. It's the name of the major student.
Okay.
We liked to do the project about the African Union because it's a region where we have most interest in. Um, well, when we took a class that was called Middle East and Africa, we knew more about the Middle East because of the moment where we took the class. But we are encouraged to learn more about it, and this project might help us with that, with our research and, well,
Okay.
the opportunity to interview stakeholders as you. Um, this is how we can not only learn what paper said, but what more people that are um, like that know about a lot about your field can teach us. So thank you for the interview. Now Victor will start with the questions.
Okay. Okay.
okay, Dennis. Well, our first question is, what are the current priorities for the African Development Bank in terms of economic development?
What? I didn't get the question
Okay,
very well.
it doesn't matter.
I think sometimes also it's good to be typing in case, in case,
Yeah, the
because
one that I type it.
no, you can state it. You
Okay,
can state it, but just in
what are the
case,
current priorities?
it will be good. Maybe what I can do, maybe what I can, if you have already the question that's already been typed, if you can also lay the question, I can be addressing the first question, and then since I'm seeing the second question, to not waste time, you see now, so I can be also be addressing that as well. And there can also be some interlink between questions. So I will see how I'm going to respond, and so that it is satisfactory to not repeat myself. So you can say this first question, but at the same time, too, someone can be at least bringing the other question as well on the chat box. That can also help too.
Yeah, well, I will put all the questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Give me a little time.
So you said the first question is what are what?
Uh, is What are the current priorities of the African Development Bank in terms of economic development?
Current priority.
Yeah.
The African Development Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I send you the questions. They are in the box.
Okay.
And also, I'm sorry for interrupting, but your audio is a little low. It was actually better when we started the call.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
uh,
so much better. Thank you. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, in terms of priorities, talking about the African Development Bank, I'm trying to, first of all, let me grab right now, you guys are undergraduate. Which level exactly?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand, but like in a level of economy or
I mean the level of, first year, second year, third year. What is the class? The class?
that we're taking. The class that we're
Yes.
taking. We are almost about to finish. We're in third year.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
we're
trying to
pretty
say
advanced.
I'm going to respond to this. Because the thing is this, already I know you've made research which we have to do with African Development Bank as a multilateral development bank. In terms of priorities, first of all, you should know that African Development Bank, even though is a multilateral development bank, that really encompass all African countries. It also encompasses some non-regional, what is called the non-regional members. So UK, US, and not the rest. You see, but the essence of the organizations, of the institutions, is to finance development in Africa, and then also to spur out every project that is going to really fine tune all the aspects of development. You see now. So whether you are from the UK or from whatever countries, and then you have a project that wants to impact Africa, you see, based on that, we support we kind of provide what they call it, a surface of data that can help you to probably fine tune in your trajectory of really helping your projects in the execution process. You see now. Now the question is this. The thing is this. Development is a huge what they call it. Let me just say it's just a huge ship that one have to go into. So it's difficult for an African, let me just say a country, to solely really contribute and make instrumental action in development without the support of others as well, you see. Because African today, all the country are interlinked, and then we need support, you see. So in terms of support, country comes together to really seek how they are going to really help each other through financing of their projects. So the African Development Bank serves as what they call it, an instrument for them to come and then to really discuss about what's their what they call it, their strategy for development. Now, coming to the priority with regard to the implementation of how those strategies are put in place. So, the African Development Bank, in its current strategy, we have what is called the high five. You see now, the high five. These are very important because apart from, I know that in your research, definitely you've heard what we call the 10-year strategy of the bank. It's called the 10-year strategy of the bank. We always have it every year. Even the World Bank also do its own 10-year strategy that define every instrument and then every impact you want to make in every countries who are members of the bank. At the same time, too, there is also what is called also the what they call it, the high five that I mentioned that align with the 10-year strategy. You see now. So the 10-year strategy is the bigger umbrella of the strategy, and then the high five fall into it. The high five are just these 5 items that talk about the Latin Africa, industrialized Africa, more of energy, so lighting and as well. So there is just a lot of factors. You see now, those things you can see online, but my intention is just for me, is to give you a sense of practicality, because there's some information. I just don't want to give you information that you can find online, but it's just to give you what they call it, some other supplemented action. You see now, you can read about 10-year strategy, you can read about the high five, but you should note that the African Development Bank is really prioritizing development and also trying to challenge any form of conflict, trying to settle it. It's true that the African Development Bank is not a political organization, but at the same time, its support is very important, including for fragile states and non-fragile states. You see, so discussion comes in, and it comes in every day to discuss about how we are going to get our project to be financed. Fragile states also need support for development. The youth, for example, in the priorities of, maybe I expect too much question. Okay, the youth the youth are priorities. Education is priorities. Women equality is priorities. So all these key priorities are really structured in terms of strategy for each country, you see now. So when country comes to defend their project, is in alignment with the priority that's already been laid, you see now. And then when it is laid, then we as the board members, or we that probably also work, them just okay, the project manager and not the rest, they have to define those projects in alignment to the 10-year strategy, the high fives, and then to bring how the impact is going to lay, and then follow up. But we have to admit that sometimes we can have challenge with regard to politics, you see now, the political challenge of it. Let me just say, for example, a country who is not probably let me just say Morocco and probably Algeria are having issue with regard to probably the states of South Sahara state. I don't know if you know, but let me just say a country is having a fight with each other, and then that can really affect the nature of the discussion with regard to the project. You see, and we just have to find a way to really show the importance of regionalizations, the importance of development that exceed your personal or country solely interest. See, those are the kind of things that we can discuss about. But in terms of priorities, you can see that I've mentioned, you can read about the high five, you can read about the 10-year strategy, and then also it's all cut across education, cut across development in general, and then cut across any form of gender, women empowerment that you can see. So in terms of how it promotes sustainable development, as I said, today, let me just say that as far as African is concerned, African is governed by what is called the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. I know you've read about it. Sustainable development is there for that of sustainable development is until 2030. But however, Agenda 2063 of the African Union is very broader, but all, especially the African Development Bank, we align every project, every actions in line with the broader umbrella. And the broader umbrella is those agendas. Because at the end of the day, you want to make impact on development. You want to make impact on education. You want to make impact on youth empowerment. But you have to find a way to narrow it in a kind of an architecture of development, you see. So it gives a sense of the current discussion with regard to the COP that is going on in what they call it, in Baku recently, is when we are talking about climate change. So all this strategy, it's aligned to, at the same time, trying to promote development across nations. And then not only promote development, but promote a sustainable development, because we have to think also of the future generation as well, you see. So it all align, but in a segment, it will require to just sometime some country in Africa can now, let's not talk on the concrete sense. The concrete sense is just that in the discussion of climate change, we can see that probably also Africa they have the minimum contributor to climate pollution. They have the minimum, and which is what has been paved the discussion for. Okay, you know what? Since we contribute less, US contributes more, then you should pay us for that, for maintaining our environment, for maintaining the green, the forest, and all the rest. You should pay us for that. You see, those are the kind of just go beyond the reading. You see, we all have one planet. And then now it's just also to nuances also, because their argument also as well as the West is to say that, okay, you know what, maybe also you don't destroy your environment because you don't have money to finance development. So if you give you this, then you are going to destroy it, which does not really solve the issue. You see, those kind of debate, those can really pave the discussion all around. By the end of the day, we just have to be mindful of the planet that we are in, you see. The planet that we are in, what will be the instrumental action that we are going to do. But in a sense, we'll have a look of all the strategy, and then the sense is to ensure that every project that is being really what they call it, validated, that's been really supported, that's been really financed, align with those strategy. Align with those strategy, which is also the SDGs, and then also the African Union's Agenda 365. So I think it makes sense. With regard to regional integrations, I hope I'm not jumping the questions.
No, that's the right question about foster regional economic integration.
Okay. Oh, with regard to regional integrations, let me just say that I don't know if you've read about the REX. It is very important to know about the REX because they play an instrumental role for African Union. Let me even dive into some of the information, the background information with the REX. You know about the African Union. African Union is the bigger umbrella of an institution that really bring out all the African countries. And don't forget, there are 55 for the African Union, not 54, because African Union still recognize the South Sahara as a state, you see. So which make it 55. The thing is this. The essence of the creation of African unions, apart from really creating the place by which African people can discuss after colonizations, after the impact of everything, see how they are going to really have a continent that really change the narrative of poverty, that is really capable of really promoting not only be a developed country or be a developed continent, but also can also challenge, also serve as an example of development in a way, you see. There is the need that in order to do it, there's been a lot of debate. We can talk about even how the African Union was created with regard to the debate that, okay, do you want the African development states now? Do you want the development now? Do you want it just to be progressive? Do you like to really collaborate with the colonizers, the French, the British, those people in the country that colonized? That's a lot of factors you have to put in place. But in a sense, it's just good to note that African Union is created to bring African states together so that they can work on their differences, and capitalize on the opportunities so that they can promote development for every countries who are members of African Union, which are all African countries as well, you see, because we all have the same continent we share. But the problem is this: there is diversity in terms of language. There is diversity in terms of even locations. There's diversity in terms of culture. Diversity are just all around. So this cannot be done just at the African Union. Then there have to be some regional blocks. It is called regional blocks that enable Africans to come together, at least recognize themselves in a way, settle the minute problem within the regions, which can enable to really have the bigger development that they expect. It's like you are able to really solve a problem within 4 people than within 100 people, because it makes it complex, you see. So in the regional blocks, there is 8 regional blocks. As far as you can get it in form of the REX for West Africa, we have the ECOWAS. You can talk about ECOWAS. You can talk about the EAC, East African Community. You can talk about EAC. You can talk about COMESA. You can talk about IGAD, and so on. 8 of them. I think you can all make research on it. So every countries, every region are trying to put a lot of instruments in place so that at least those strategies at least align to settle their problem within the regions, and then which can really create stability, which will spur for development. So a breathing ground for development. So for example, now I am from Cote d'Ivoire, so a West African country that is that belong to ECOWAS, in 2010, Cote d'Ivoire experienced what was called the post-electoral crisis. Post-electoral crisis that led to about 3,000 people that died during the process. So you can see how disastrous it is. But you can see the role of ECOWAS, not the African Union. You can see the role of ECOWAS in trying to settle the dispute, trying to really discuss, trying to find a solution to settle, because when you are from the same region, there are some share culture that can facilitate peace promotions, peace negotiations, and then peace process. So those are instrumental factors that you can see. I'm not trying to give you things that you can read, but at least you can actually have a sense of what I'm. So when you talk about what are the strategies that are used to foster regional integration, you see now. So the first of even having that in place, we can talk about now strategy for that promote culture. For example, now ECOWAS discuss about culture. We can talk about the FESPACO. That's what they call the FESPACO in what they call it in Burkina Faso, which is kind of a festival for film and then for movies, and then that's also celebrate. Those kind of things bring people together to discuss not only about culture, not only about diversity, but also to really record it and then appreciate the people who are really challenging the narrative of Africa, you see. Also, there is the fact that today, African Union, you can see the support that is being given to all the RECs in terms of guidance, in terms of even financial support, in terms of what they call it, mediation when there is crisis and not the rest. You see, Those are also instrumental factors that you can see in place, that's been put in place. So I don't know. We can go into granular, but I'm just trying to say I don't want to deviate more into question. I just want to go in depth. So
Mr. Daniel, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to ask you, like
yes.
sometimes Africa is seen as a whole, like you've said, we don't divide it for regions or countries. So do you think that by implying this regional specialization or strategies specialized in every region, do you think our strategies to improve their development would work if we're more focused on like to work with one region at a time or with one country at a time, or like do you think that could work?
There is challenge to every strategy that is going to put in place. There is challenge to go into as a one, because when you are going as a one, don't forget that already Africa is a continent composed of 50. Let me, based on the definition of African Union, 55 countries, but definition of United Nations, 54. 54 countries. If you decide to use the strategy of what is called the Casablanca strategy, which is the Nkrumah, when they were getting the independence, the Nkrumah and co, who wanted independence now, the African state of nations now, they wanted independence now, so all coming together to serve as a state. That will mean that some of the culture is going to die. Let's take, for example, today, in Cote d'Ivoire, for example, colonized by French through the policy of assimilations and then associations, you can see that even some of the people don't even understand their language anymore. They speak only French. You see, today, even the French that you are seeing today, French was only spoken in Paris, not in other region. But today you see just French. You don't see other language; they are completely gone. So it's true that coming as a one has a risk of some of the cultures going to die. You see,
Dennis,
but
sorry for interrupting, but we have only
yeah,
1 more minute, and
okay. Oh my God.
but also we can go back in the link if you want.
Yeah. I think it's good to always go and come back. If I know, I shall be the one to even do this, sending the link. But anyway, let's go and then try to join again, to not digress.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Daniel.
You're welcome.